Well, Dr. Bill, it's amazing how not only the weeks fly by, but also the months and the seasons. It happens to be already September the 1st, Saturday afternoon, September the 1st.
Good.
2012.
I want my pumpkin pie.
2012, and we're slowly approaching the unofficial, well, and the official end of summer, and you know, it is Labor Day weekend, so I'm sure all you young drink and puke Americans will be rushing down to the beach, to the resorts, especially in New Jersey, in the Garden State of New Jersey. All you kids in New Jersey will be rushing down to Seaside Heights, and Point Pleasant, and whatever, and you know, drinking and puking and getting ripped off by
having a good time
by price gouged garbage food like $5 or $6 hot dogs or whatever, and getting on the beach for the last time because the beaches will close. No lifeguards, that is. And that's it. This is Labor Day weekend. Happy Labor Day weekend, as if, you know, just in case you know what Labor Day weekend is supposed to be about. But, you know, according to our government nowadays, that they don't have too much respect for the common laborer, you know, nowadays. But it is Labor Day weekend 2012. So welcome to Progressive Discussions. Welcome. This is Progressive Discussions. I am your host, James P. Madonna. I am here with my co-host and mentor from the Newsletter Censored Research Center in Northeastern New Jersey. And let me get it out of the way and formally pipe him aboard. My illustrious co-host and mentor, and the man who founded Newsletter Censored in 1977, the deepest, most naturally controversial, most informative, hard-hitting truth newsletter in the cosmos. And I'm not just saying it. Ahoy, matey, and welcome aboard our progressive pirate ship. Arr! Arr, buckle. How you feeling, Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman?
Pretty good, I guess.
Are you invigorated?
No.
I like that word, invigorated. Oh, man. So anyway, what we were discussing in our weekly business meeting, Wednesday, was right-wing fundamentalist, born-again, holy roller, evangelical, whatever you want to call them, Christians who continually insist, of course, among many things, that, you know, you can have a conversation with God with your little petty things going on in your life, and God just listens to you and grants your wishes, you know, out of billions of people. And also, you know, they talk about things like the immortal soul flying up in the air and getting raptured, which is not true. You simply die and rot away and take the big dirt sleep until the resurrection and judgment. And so on and so on. It goes on and on. But one of the things they talk about and insist on, because they think they have a bat phone of God, is the fact that they think that the law of the Old Testament was nailed to the cross and is dead, according to Apostle Paul's letters. So Dr. Bill was showing me some things that they don't read in Paul's letters.
First of all, the guy who just won the Powerball all by himself, $300 and some million.
Wow!
All by himself. God directed his hand for the numbers.
He sounds like Joel Osteen.
God had to take a couple, maybe it took about 5 minutes, I guess. Took about 5 minutes away from his control over the universe and other jobs that he does to help this guy pick his number.
So God...
Who the hell is this guy?
So
number one.
So this man has the colossal arrogance and gall to state publicly that just him, out of how many billions of people are on Earth? 7 billion people. Just this one man, that God was interested in providing over $300 million just for him, not to share with other winners, but just him alone. God wanted him to have over $300 million for free in the Powerball, and that God himself, the creator and master of the universe, guided his hand and got involved in gambling, which is another kind of blasphemous accusation.
What is it what day is it during the week, or maybe it's several days now, that the Catholic Church has bingo?
Oh, they love bingo.
Oh, they love bingo, yes.
And there's an Italian festival in my town, the St. Joseph Roman Catholic Church Italian Festival, and they had spin the wheel.
Woohoo!
You know, the wheel of fortune, to spin the wheel.
Oh, wheel of fortune.
Well, they take part in gambling and say, hey, it's for a good cause. It's for the church. It's for the church. Hey, it's for the church. Yeah, everything they do is for the church. Now, this guy it's blasphemy, and it's colossal arrogance to think that God would help this one man out in gambling, no less. Get in dirty God's hands and get involved with gambling so he can win over $300 million all by himself. This guy has some nerve to say that, and that might give him a little bad karma by making a statement like that.
Well, it's called the hypocrisy. It's the one of the commandments, I'm sure, 2 or 3 or whatever the hell it is. Taking the Lord's name in vain.
You know, the guy was probably so shocked and ecstatic by becoming the only winner of over $300 million in the Powerball. He didn't really know. He should have said very little on television. He wanted his, 15
minutes of FaceTime.
15 minutes of fame, of FaceTime. And he did a little audition, of course, just like many people on the internet, on Facebook, on groups on Facebook, get their little audition in for the Food Channel and the Travel Channel, hoping that somebody will see it. And many of them are very boring and stuffy, yet informative. Don't get me wrong, very informative. I'm fans of some of these people. Some. But, you know, nevertheless, you gotta have pizzazz and charisma and a sense of humor and a personality, to say the least, to be on television. And when it comes to yours truly, James P. Madonna, and and also my buddy Tom Mulvihill, the Beer Whisperer, the Food and Beer Whispers, no one combines researched, detailed information together with wit, tremendous fast wit, sense of humor, and just downright funny as all hell. So you take that to the bank, you jabronis out there, and you know who you are. You're jealous. You know, I was going to bring the pendulum, and I was going to consult with the pendulum that was lent to me by the retired wizard Ozzy Bucco. The pendulum that he got from the amazing Kreskin. I was going to bring it, but thinking that you might recite some scripture, it wouldn't be proper to combine the occult with scripture. And I will save it for the next Food and Beer Whisperers show. And I will consult the pendulum about these very groups. And, you know, get in touch with the astral world and the cosmos. Anyway, go ahead with what you're going to read about.
You mean getting in touch with the demons?
No,
that's what you get in touch with.
The tremendous psychic powers that the wizard Ozzy Bucco and James P. Madonna have. A very intuitive ESP. All right, go ahead.
Then how can that be the astral world if it's coming from yourself? Psychic powers come from yourself.
I'm just like an antenna. Nothing gets by me. I notice everything. Like you.
Christ.
You're very deep.
Christ came to fulfill the law. Matthew 5, verse 17. Are you writing these down for your friends? Matthew 5, verse 17.
I will write it down when I review the show.
Luke 6, 46. Matthew 4, verse 4. Do not listen to me. Look them up.
What? He said that?
I said it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I am nothing. I am a messenger. Do not be fooled by the personality. He said, look it up. Thank you.
And these are directed to your holy roller, born again,
Friends.
evangelical, charismatic, people I know that go to these Bible study groups and these churches that insist on all these things that the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman says is not in the Bible.
Grace is not license. Romans 6, verses 1 through 2. And that's what they're preaching. They have grace. They can do what they want.
The
Dispensation
of grace, yeah.
of grace. Yeah.
They're covered by the blood of Christ, so therefore, once you're saved, you're always saved.
Yeah.
That's what pretty much they're saying.
That's what they're saying. But, as Romans 7, verse 7 says, Paul upheld the law.
You're listening carefully, holy rollers out there?
And I wonder if this would apply to, I wonder if this is not on the subject per se. Wait a minute, there's another one here that I just came upon. Oh, this happens to do with, your friend there, with the immortal soul crap.
Oh, you mean when Ken Create was insisting about the immortal soul being raptured up
The
in
immortal soul, period.
immortal soul, existence of the immortal soul.
How can you have an immortal soul if Ezekiel 18, verse 14 and 20 say very clearly and plainly, once you look at them, the soul that sins shall die.
Now, interesting. Now, what was that thing that passage you read to me about the term born again? About you cannot be
Born again.
You cannot be born again.
Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God.
So how can a person?
You must be born again, and to be born again, you must be resurrected.
So how can a person, flesh and blood human being that repents, go around claiming or bragging that they're born again?
They can't. Unless, as 99% of the Christian denominations in this country and around the world do, they have their own traditions. Mark 7, verses 7 through 9. You worship me in vain, teaching for the commandments and your traditions.
Well, therefore, isn't it logical to assume that pretty much if it's not actually in the Bible and you can't prove it, then you're probably part of a cult?
Correct. You're part of something, but it ain't Christianity.
And people that claim that they talk to God, like I think G.W. Bush said he used to talk to God.
Yes, he told them to go into Iraq.
Yeah, and
which resulted in total confusion. And God is not the author of confusion, but we know who is, don't we?
Well,
Who is the author of confusion?
Satan.
Satan!
And lies, too.
The father of the lie.
And
the murderer.
If God told G.W. Bush to go into Iraq, where there were no weapons of mass destruction or Osama bin Laden or Al Qaeda, then
well, that wasn't the reason. The reason was to make money for Halliburton and KBR and all the other private contractors.
War profiteering. Now
war is a racket. General Smedley Butler.
I heard recently, sir, from very, very reliable sources, very reliable, that the United States military has been, unfortunately, murdering unarmed Iraqis and claiming that they were armed and they were pulling a weapon on them.
I did not hear of any of that.
It's Gary Null and Jesse
However,
Ventura. Jesse Ventura. Yeah.
That the Afghanis that the United States is training over there are killing our people. Get out!
They don't want us.
11 years, the longest war in American history.
They don't want to be occupied. It's their country. And if the oil...
It's the Taliban.
And if the oil's on their...
It's the Taliban. And the Taliban is a religious thingy. You can't fight the religious thingy.
Because you don't know who they are.
No, you can't kill them.
No, because it's a mindset.
That's correct. And it's part of the...
Right.
It's part of the country.
So by getting Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein, it's not going to stop, because there's going to be many, many other Osama bin Ladens and Saddam Husseins in the presently and in the future.
That's correct.
Because it's a way of thinking, religious philosophy and or political philosophy, and it will go on and on and on.
Correct.
So get out. That's the smartest thing you can do. Get out and just strengthen Homeland Security so nobody sneaks in and does,
that's what the military
does anything bad. Okay.
That's what the military is supposed to be for. Defense of the United States of America.
Well,
not Afghan.
Our borders,
our
borders were never really threatened, you know, as far as invasion goes. So I don't understand why these jabronis,
business, baby,
these lemmings, these American citizens, that go around posting things on the internet with the American flag, waving it, saying that that freedom is not free. These people are fighting and dying for your freedom. Well, if our freedom was in jeopardy, then how come our borders are not being threatened by invasion? How is our freedom in jeopardy?
It's the corporations' freedoms that are in jeopardy.
You mean their profits?
That's correct.
Well, what's wrong with these people in America?
They're deceived. Revelation 12:9. It's very simple.
Look, they believe Republican and conservative propaganda and lies about... Now, did you read... I read that whole thing that you sent me, that petition going around about the lies coming out of Paul Ryan?
5 lies that he told in his speech.
I read them all, and I posted them. I copied and pasted and posted them on my brand new, very fast growing... I'm very proud of it. My latest creation and pride and joy, the Truth Whisperers, brand new Facebook group. It's a multi-topic group. It is 100% uncensored, no holds barred. No one will be banned or booted or blocked. Everyone will get their chance to say what they feel, but you better have research facts. You better not be talking off the top of your head, half cocked and blowing hot air. You better have some facts.
Republicans are welcome then.
Oh no, I have some flamers.
Flamers!
I have
talking
some
about
flamers.
Real, open-minded people obviously are not Republicans.
No, that's why they post stupid things on my group. You know, but everybody's welcome, and you can say what you want, but you better be prepared for the retribution from others. If you know, you better be ready to debate.
Well, there will be no retribution.
And you could swear and yell too.
There will be no retribution, because those who will flame or whatever will not ever seek the facts in that particular instance, whatever they're yakking about.
Because their thinking is based on a theology that's not proven.
Their thinking is based on laziness.
They won't.
Laziness.
Maybe they need to be pounded.
And the facts.
Maybe the truth needs to be pounded into them the old-fashioned way.
Pounding changes no one. You have to understand something about facts, your way, your thinking, this, that, and the other thing.
Not my thinking. What is, man? It's what is.
The other person will never accept your facts or facts themselves or whatever unless they themselves have an epiphany and repent from what they have been and change the old man into the new man.
Otherwise, they will never research and read your facts.
Correct.
So the debate will go on and back and forth.
It will not be a debate.
It'll be a debate if I'm involved in it.
It will be might versus right. That's how it's been through history.
Well,
that's how do you think the Roman Catholic Church established its power?
Well, the right better work out a lot and get trained.
Doesn't happen that way. History shows that it doesn't happen that way. Power trumps the right at every turn.
Because the right
because humans are evil.
Because the right is just too passive. Remember the Star Trek episode when you had the evil Kirk and the nice passive Kirk, and the passive Kirk could not display any offense whatsoever. Huh?
Aggression.
No aggression at all.
He needed the evil side of him for his aggression.
Yeah, balance.
As Wright called aggression, though, the moving forward. It did not have the connotations, the negative connotations that we attribute to aggression.
No.
Aggression means the moving forward.
Yeah.
The energy moving forward.
Like what Dr. Gary Null does in his life.
Yes, he's aggressive.
He takes action.
Action.
He moves forward.
Moves forward.
He has a backbone.
Backbone.
As opposed to somebody with no gumption or no backbone, a jellyfish. You know, a person of action has a backbone.
You mean like the chicken hawks in the Republican Party?
Yeah. Intestinal fortitude. Things, you know, you can go on with the different synonyms. But anyway...
Let's return to the law thing.
Or let's summarize it, because...
Well, we're never going to summarize it. We're just giving ammunition. Stuff for people to look up.
Okay.
So they can come to a right conclusion. And
then we got to
instead of arguing with the personality or the messenger that gave the message.
And then we got to get right to the reading.
Sin is the transgression of the law. 1 John 3 verse 4. And of course we said before, the wages of sin is death.
Okay.
Romans 6 verse 23. Okay? You can't get away from it. Paul did not come to destroy the law. Jesus did not come to destroy the law. He came to magnify it. We have to remember also that the 10 Commandments, Jesus came to fulfill the law. The 10 Commandments were in effect way back in the Garden of Eden. They didn't occur when they were written on the stone and given to Moses. They are spiritual law, and they have been in effect since the creation of man. So they never were changed. Jesus celebrated the seventh day Sabbath, the holy day.
Mm-hmm.
He did not change any laws like that. Okay? Are we clear on that? We have enough scripture to go look at?
Mm-hmm.
Eh?
We made our point. You made your point. We made our point on this week's show. Labor Day weekend 2012.
Yeah.
That the Bible law was not nailed to the cross and is not.
That is correct.
And is not dead. As opposed to these born again holy rollers that insist that it was. So I guess
well,
that
they
means
do that because that allows them to do what they want.
They want to. They want to.
The carnal mind is enmity towards God.
They want.
It doesn't want to obey God.
They want to go around being assholes and taking advantage of other people, and still claim that they're Christians and they're saved, and they're not going to be in the tribulation. They're going to be safe. They're going to be rescued from the tribulation, is what they say.
But these are fantasies. You see, that's the point. The point is that, let's go back to Greek for a moment, where they had 30,000 gods. How many of those gods exist today?
Mm-hmm.
None. Because we're all based on fantasy. And so are 99% of all the Christian denominations in the world. Their God, and by the way, only one God, their God is a fantasy. Okay? And ain't going to get them out of no tribulation.
No.
But then again, if they didn't actually know or come into contact in some way, shape, or form with the God of the Bible, how would they know there was a tribulation coming?
True.
You know. Well, while we're discussing the Bible, I wanted to just two things I want to enter into the conversation.
Okay.
One is Isaiah 32, verses 5 through 6.
Okay.
And I'm quoting this. The vile person shall no more be called liberal. And the liberal, the word translated into liberal there is generous. Generous. The vile person shall no more be called liberal, nor the churl, that's someone that's crude or selfish,
Oh, I know people
said
like that.
to be bountiful.
I know people like that.
For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy. That explains your people who believe the law is dead and believe that a liberal is a bad person.
Well, if a liberal
When liberal means generous.
I was just going to say that if progressive liberals are so bad and demonized, then why do they take care of the poor and the elderly and the disabled, and the Republicans want these people to die? They cut off their life's blood. They cut off the social programs. So I don't understand how.
People are lazy.
Huh?
Because those people are lazy.
But don't they see the
We need to get those people out into corporations to work for nothing.
But don't
Slave labor.
But don't they see the hypocrisy?
No.
Of a Republican getting in front of a camera and a microphone and claiming to be a real Christian and closer to God? Don't they see the hypocrisy? How could you be a real Christian if you don't care about the poor and about the homeless, and especially the homeless veterans living in tents? How could these masses, idiots out there that vote Republican, that are not even rich, they're not even they will never see a high income tax bracket, but they vote Republican. How could these people look at and listen to a Republican and listen and believe their lies and vote Republican if these people are against their own kind?
Because
the masses, the mainstream masses.
anyone who possesses money, power, and position gets respect.
Because they think that they must be doing something right, otherwise
That's
they
correct.
wouldn't be rich. But they don't think about ill-gotten gains. But these middle-class people that voted in a Republican Congress, their taxes never went down, right? And the
They
rich,
did under Obama.
yeah, but the rich continued not to pay taxes, and the middle class
Has to make it up.
are paying the taxes. So the campaign promises were not kept by the Republicans.
They don't care.
But they must be missing some important brain cells then, because
There has been a study that conservatives lack some gray matter in the brain.
yeah, especially the senile old Clint Eastwood talking to an empty chair,
What a nut.
having a conversation with an empty chair, and I think they showed Mitt Romney's face, and I don't think Mitt Romney.
He didn't like it too much.
I heard that they felt that they wanted Clint Eastwood to read a scripted message and not do his own thing, and he went ahead and did his own thing, and it was embarrassing to the Romney campaign, and it couldn't happen to a better political party.
Now let's get back here for a minute to a slight explanation to your question before.
Yeah, I know.
And maybe this will indicate a little bit why these things occur.
We have to wrap this up, though.
Leaders in the church must not be greedy for money. 1 Timothy chapter 3 verses 3 and 8. Luke 12 verse 15. Now, of course, if they allow it in the church itself, why wouldn't they allow it in the rest of society?
You hear that, Pat Robertson and Joel Osteen and Benny?
What about it?
Benny Hill? What is it? Oh, Benny
Henny, what is it?
Henny Youngman? No.
No, not Henny.
Benny Hinn. Benny Hinn.
Take my wife, please.
Take my wife, please. Benny Hinn.
Benny Hinn.
Yeah, the prosperity preachers,
Well, Robert,
the TV evangelists. Yeah.
Reverend Ike.
Reverend Ike.
He put it right out there.
Well, he was honest.
He was honest about it. Look, what do you expect me to drive in what's one of the lower price cars today?
Well, you know,
A Corolla.
You know
don't
what?
expect me to drive around in a Corolla. I drive a Cadillac, man.
Because he's representing the Lord.
Yeah.
And he wants to. He feels he's praising the Lord more by driving it around in a different color Rolls Royce every day.
Vanity, vanity, all is vanity.
But the Reverend Ike came out and said it. The more money you tithe to me, the more God will bless you.
Well, that's the.
And he has a blessing plan.
That's the way they get around it. You know?
He has a contract. He has a blessing plan.
That's the way they appeal to your vanity.
He says you could either send me $25 a month or $50 a month or $100 a month.
Man, you'll be blessed, baby.
And you'll be blessed because you're tithing. You're planting a seed. You're
Woo.
planting a seed,
Woo.
Reverend Bill.
Woo.
You're planting a seed in his pocket, though.
Yeah.
That's the part he leaves out.
They don't get that. They don't get that part.
I want to say
don't
hello to my good friend, the probably the foremost authority in the United States on Persian and Indian club swinging, known as circular fitness. Okay, Mr. Army McGuire of Los Angeles, California. I hope you are recovering from your eye surgery and doing well. Mr. Army McGuire, I am proud to announce, will be starting in the near future his own club making business. And I'm not talking about club soda, I'm talking about authentic traditional Persian and Indian clubs. So salute to Army McGuire. with my lucky Blackthorn shillelagh, imported from Ireland, a weapons grade. Now, let's get right to the readings.
The Republican charge that President Obama has presided over 4 years of abject failure isn't true. After 8 Republican years, Obama was handed the worst economy since the Great Depression, including an unprecedented housing market collapse.
Right.
In the fall of 2008, the credit for, by the way, in the fall of 2008, who was president?
Bushy boy?
G.W. Bush. In the fall of 2008, the credit freeze left economists visiting G.W. Bush's White House ashen-faced.
Yeah.
We were heading toward a depression. Losing 700,000 jobs a month.
And he's also the man that said that the Constitution was nothing but a damn piece of paper.
But the point of it is, they seem to forget all of this. How conveniently.
Short memory.
The stock market's Dow Jones index plunged to 8,000. It's now 13,000.
Now, you know, if Bush was a Democrat, they would have went after him like wolves on a wounded caribou.
Off about 35% from 18 months earlier. America's auto industry was in ruins. We could very well have been in the midst of another Great Depression. 4 years later, the Dow is at 13,000. Corporate profits are at record highs. Federal taxes are at record lows. The auto industry is back, and we've had more private sector job growth in that time than during Bush's 8 years.
Yeah, but they made Bush into a hero.
Yes, they
National
did,
hero.
didn't they? As they did Mr. Reagan.
The Reagan, the guy who shifted the tax burden from the rich to the middle class.
By any metric,
Your hero. Yeah.
the failed stimulus, 40% of which were tax cuts for the middle class and small business, succeeded. Our dollar growth in gross domestic product since 2008 dwarfs that of the rest of the world, including Germany. The letter writer charged that the jobless rates are up in many states since Obama took office. He fails to mention that GOP-controlled states have laid off 750,000 public sector workers, adding at least a point to the unemployment percentage and further exacerbating the recession. If that's 4 years of abject failure, 4 more, please.
The proof is in the pudding, but they quickly forget. Quickly forget.
By the way, speaking of Mr. Lion Ryan from the other night, his big speech, here's what Ryan said. Obama created a bipartisan debt commission. They came back with an urgent report. He thanked them, sent them on their way, and did exactly nothing. The fact.
Yeah.
It's true that Obama hasn't heeded his commission's recommendations, but Ryan was a member and voted against its final report.
When are the Democrats going to finally learn that bipartisanship will not work, will never work?
When will they learn to point up all the lies once they have gotten out there?
Well, I hope Barack Obama addresses these lies when he when they start the Democratic convention.
Some of them are old by now and should have been taken to task immediately.
The Democrats, if they want to acquire total control of Washington in November, they need to get very aggressive, and they need to they just need to be aggressively proactive in their campaign and roll up their sleeves and fight.
Mitt Romney has more money.
And fight very toughly. Of course he has more money, because he's got the fat cats behind him.
And money is speech, according to the conservative idiots on the Supreme Court.
Well, don't you think the media would allow the President of the United States to say everything he wants to say? They're not gonna. The President will always get FaceTime, right? So
well, it doesn't. It's not a. It's not a very good picture when you have the President of the United States arguing each one of these lies that continue every day.
Well,
you get into a he said, she said. You don't want to get into that.
Well, what are you supposed to do? Let the perpetrator shit on you?
Here we go. Now we go back.
You got to be a momo, a spineless, gutless person, and let it happen?
We got to go back to our discussion that we had here before you turned the camera on.
Go ahead.
You can't do anything sometimes.
What are you supposed to do?
Against these people.
Let the fat cats win?
Let's look back on history. Let's look back on. Let's see.
Well, then let the poor and the middle class starve and become homeless. Then die.
The 12 apostles.
If you don't want to fight.
11 of them were martyred.
All right. So, in your opinion, just simply wither away.
In my opinion,
wither away.
You simply continue to warn, and the message goes out.
Well, isn't that what they do?
If they kill you
doing the
and persecute you, what are you going to do?
We're talking about the Democratic National Convention and Barack Obama and the speeches from all the celebrities that'll show up probably, and Biden will talk, and this one will talk, and that one will talk, and they'll all get a chance. They'll be on all the major networks, just like the Republican convention, and people will get an opportunity to hear the Democrats, and hopefully people will get a chance to hear some of the independents, which is wishful thinking, some of the independents that are running, like Rocky Anderson. You know, I hope it's kind of like it'd be a miracle if they actually got FaceTime, but people will get to hear both sides. But what I'm trying to say is the Democrats need to aggressively go for the jugular vein if they want to take control of Washington, House, Senate, and the White House. They got to be very, very aggressive, but base it on facts. Dig for dirt, and let's just hope the U.S. media provides this information.
The problem is that the media is not factual based. They like he said, she said.
Oh.
They bring in one personality, another personality, and maybe that one personality is a Democrat, the other personality is a Republican, and that's fair and balanced.
Is this why the people who provide the news in America, they don't pass any kind of judgment or opinion? They just simply have this big phony saccharine sweet smile, like Joel Osteen.
What do you mean they don't pass it? You ever watch CNN and Fox News?
No, I'm talking about the major network, local news people, representing CBS, NBC,
A journalist
ABC.
Is supposed to be neutral.
Why?
But he is not supposed to give propaganda in place of facts.
That's true.
It is his job to determine the facts.
Right. Like
don't have that today.
Lionel gives his opinion, which I'm proud of. I mean, I have to give him a lot of credit. Lionel, he's
Lionel.
Lionel. He's
Lionel.
For those of you out there that don't know Lionel, he's
ain't no train.
He's a lawyer. He's no train. No, he's a lawyer turned radio talk show personality. He is a character, to say the least. He's very intelligent. He's very comical with his personality, but he's a very smart lawyer, and he is just very knowledgeable. And he is on our WPIX, you know, on Channel 11 here in the New York metropolitan area. He gives his editorial at the end of the news, the 10 p.m. news.
Yeah.
But he's on the internet, Lionel. Anyway, and he's on Facebook. I don't always agree with him, but he's a pretty sharp cookie. We're going to take a break. It's time for the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman's gastronomic delight known as lunch. And we will be back very shortly. We're done. Well, of course, the first...
We're not done with Mr. Ryan.
No, not with Mr. Ryan, but the first part of the show about, you know, the Bible law being nailed to the cross and being dead. We're done with that.
Well, hopefully we're done with that.
But the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman will continue with it on a God project in the future.
All will be God projects eventually.
Yes.
Be patient.
Right. But what I'm saying is, whatever we talk about on progressive discussion will be in God projects, but in much more detail in the God projects. I got to educate them to tell them that the God project has more detail than progressive discussions. You know what you
educate them with?
What?
Buying the newsletter. That'll educate them.
Because it's in the newsletter. But what I'm saying is, if we touch on a subject at progressive discussions, before Reverend Bill interrupts me, it'll be in much detail when he does a God project based on a certain theme, or a censored reading, which is mostly political. But anyway,
of course that does no good unless they get the newsletter.
The newsletter is the pinnacle, the ultimate of everything this organization is about, the very backbone.
If you're serious.
If you're a serious, independent, free thinker with an open mind. All right. Well, Dr. Bill, before I left the house, I ran into a what was left of a large spider web. And you know, a lot of people out there are unaware of the fact that spiders recycle their web material from the night before. When sunrise comes up, you know, they take it all in and they reuse it the following evening at sundown to catch more prey insects. Now, at this time of year, being that we are approaching the end of summer already, which is amazing how time flies, their web building seems to be increased, more prominent. You see very large, elaborate webs, and there is a very fat, rotund, healthy-looking female spider that builds a huge web where I'm living at the house, in the same location, more or less, you know, near the lamp, which is smart because that's where the
congregate.
That's where the moths and the gnats or whatever congregate. Even though they're nocturnal, they're attracted to the light. Don't ask me why. You would think a nocturnal creature would stay away from the light. So anyway, maybe it gives them something to do. You know, maybe it's like an amusement park. And that's where the spider strategically builds its web. But this spider is, you know, has a big fat abdomen. The females are much larger than the males. And that's why when the male has sex with the female spider, he has to take off very quickly. Otherwise, he is quickly eaten. He's quickly killed and used for food for the babies. Same thing with the praying mantis. I think the praying mantis just consumes the male. Yeah, you know, it doesn't save the male, you know, the carcass. But anyway, I felt the web on my head, which wasn't very pleasant. And I saw the spider in the daytime just hanging there from its thread. And I'm surprised because spiders usually don't show themselves in the bright sun. They go and hide somewhere. I wonder if the spider's getting old and senile. Maybe it needs some nutritional assistance. I don't know. I just thought it was strange that she was just hanging there with their big bulbous, big fat ass abdomen in the daytime, in the bright sun.
If you open the door and look to the left, you'll see one right out there.
You have a sizable spider that builds a web out there too?
By the light.
By the light.
Yep.
Go to the light. Go to the light. Well, before I do promo, I would like to, we have a message from the fat cats, the corporate CEOs, the 1%, and the Republican Party. The message that they have for America's poor and homeless. It's kind of sounds like the Xylons from, what is that, Battlestar Galactica? We are here to kill you. 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 I think that sounded like we are here to kill you. That's the message they have. Now, in the case of Chris Christie, Governor Chris Christie, he would say, I am here to barbecue you on a rotisserie and eat you. I bet he would love to convert the poor and homeless into sausage or frankfurters, and maybe use the homeless to feed the homeless instead of spending tax money on food pantries and soup kitchens. I think Chris Christie would actually feed homeless, process into sausages, and feed the homeless.
He was very proud, Soylent Green.
Soylent Green.
He was very proud about firing teachers, firemen, police.
Right. Well, you were telling me at the fat, bloated dirigible full of hot air at the Republican National Convention in Tampa, Florida, Chris Christie, most of his speech was about him and bragging about what he did for New Jersey. And he only mentioned Mitt Romney at the end, right? So it was all about me, pretty much continuing his campaign for re-election in New Jersey, using the Republican National Convention as a way to further his campaign, which was kind of selfish for him to do. But he did it, you know. He mentioned Mitt Romney at the end. So while you're eating, before I do promo, let me just do a little, I don't know, what would you call it? Country bluegrass juice harp playing. Whatever you want to call it. New age music, Martian music, you know, in honor of the rover that they're making such a big damn deal about. I still have it. It's from Italy. I've had it since the 1980s. Beautiful. The golden Jew's harp. I'm not sure why they call it a Jew's harp. I have not looked. I have not, looked and researched the origins of the instrument. We are here to kill you. The message from the Republican Party and the 1% corporatists for the America's poor and homeless. We are here to kill you. They want to cull the herd. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. Okay. Time for promo. See this gentleman next to me, this painting? This is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, because the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist and gouache artist, which is a material that's used to paint with. Okay. It's related to the watercolor family. It's related to the watercolor family, gouache. Now, you can see the William J. Eisenman collection by either going to the Newsletter Censored Facebook page, and the album is there in its entirety. Or you can Google William J. Eisenman collection, and you'll see the slideshow. And if you see something you like, simply go to newslettercensored.com and email the Reverend Dr. Bill and ask him if the painting is still available, and you can acquire one, an original painting signed by William J. Eisenman. And the bidding usually starts at like $500 each, but make him a good offer. Work it out. Give him a gift. This is the very foundation of our entire organization. Newsletter Censored, founded in 1977 by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. It contains more information than is in our websites or talk shows. It is the very backbone of our organization. This is the very best way to join our organization and be a member. This is what we are all about right here. Okay. Newsletter Censored. And there's nothing like Newsletter Censored out there. Nothing in the universe. It's the ultimate in hard-hitting truth and news. So go to newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. You need Newsletter Censored. We are living in the end times. You need Newsletter Censored to learn how to defeat a conservative. Okay? And like I said before, there's absolutely nothing like it. We reveal the kind of truth, the kind of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? And it is just so loaded with important information that applies to life today in the 21st century, and living in the end times and dealing with the end times. And it contains Censored, which is a political monologue, political reading, sometimes followed by tidbits, and then followed by The God Project by William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity, and then finally Sexuality, A Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenman, PhD. So get it now. Okay, now let me make myself a little useful, and we will get back to the to Paul Ryan. You were saying?
Paul Ryan's Lies.
Paul Ryan's Lies, and they're big ones, and they are posted. For those of you that want to sign the petition along with myself and and William J. Eisenman, PhD, just simply go to my new, exciting, very fast-growing Facebook group called the Truth Whisperers, and you will see the petition, the link, so you can sign it, and you will read the lies. 5 lies? The 5 big lies concerning Barack Obama, made by Paul Ryan. Okay, is he Paul Ryan? Is he from Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Oh, really? So what's with the people in Wisconsin nowadays?
I have no idea.
Are they like a bunch of?
But they re-elected their idiot Scott Walker, governor, Republican.
Are there a lot of rich people in Wisconsin?
No.
Or maybe they're really cheeseheads.
Maybe.
Maybe they're real cheeseheads. And as we are saying, the people in Wisconsin are right-wing idiots, the ice cream man, the ice cream truck, otherwise known as Diabetes on 4 Wheels. You can hear the music before? No more Mr. Softy in that annoying song, right?
Nope. He's calmed down in his old age.
Mr. Softy? I guess he's gotten a little softy in the head. You know, I don't hear from him anymore. Some towns complain that, you know. Well, the problem is these ice cream trucks, of course, when the weather's nice, they go up and down the local streets, suburban areas, looking for kids to bug their mother and father to buy them ice cream. Overpriced, you know, ice cream. And they would just park and play their annoying song for a long period of time. They wouldn't shut it off. And some communities complained about it. And rightfully so. I mean, who wants to hear the same jingle over and over and over again? So, all right, go ahead.
The lie on Medicare. Ryan said, and the biggest, coldest power play of all in Obamacare came at the expense of the elderly. So they just took it all away from Medicare. $716 billion funneled out of Medicare by President Obama. The fact. Ryan's claim ignores the fact that he incorporated the same cuts into budgets he steered through the House as chairman of its budget committee, using the money for deficit reduction. The cuts used in part to expand health insurance to more people do not affect Medicare recipients directly, but ultimately could by cutting into the profits of hospitals, health insurance plans, and other providers. Even so, the cuts are part of an overhaul that extends the solvency of Medicare's giant trust fund by 8 years. The stimulus. Ryan said, the stimulus was a case of political patronage, corporate welfare, and cronyism at their worst. You, the working men and women of this country, were cut out of the deal. The fact.
Yeah.
Ryan asked for stimulus money shortly after Congress approved the $800 billion plan, known as the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. Ryan's pleas to federal agencies included letters to Energy Secretary Stephen Chu and Labor Secretary Hilda Solis, seeking stimulus grants for 2 Wisconsin energy conservation companies. By the way, that was under Mr. G.W. Bush.
Right.
One of them, the non-profit Wisconsin Energy Conservation Corporation, received $20.3 million from the Energy Department to help homes and businesses improve energy efficiency, according to federal records. Another eventual recipient, the Energy Center of Wisconsin, received about $365,000. On the General Motors plant, Ryan said, Obama misled people in Ryan's hometown of Janesville, Wisconsin, by making them think a General Motors plant threatened with closure could be saved. A lot of guys went to high school with and worked at that GM plant. A lot of the guys that I went to high school with. Right there, at that plant, candidate Obama said, I believe that if our government is there to support you, this plant will be here for another 100 years. That's what he said in 2008. Well, that's what he said. It turned out that the plant didn't last another year. The fact. Although Obama did explicitly promise to save the plant, Ryan is right that Obama implied that he had the backs of its workers when he spoke at the factory early in 2008 and issued a statement about its closure later.
Right.
The plant halted production in December of 2008, weeks before Obama took office, and well before he enacted a more robust auto industry bailout that rescued GM and Chrysler and allowed the majority of their plants, though not the one in Janesville, to stay open. Ryan voted for an auto bailout under President Bush that was designed to help GM, but he was a vocal critic of the one pushed through by Obama that has been widely credited with revitalizing Chrysler and General Motors.
Well, Chrysler and General Motors would not have needed a bailout if they would have seriously used the Ford Motor Company's advertising slogan, which is putting equality as job one. They would have been more competitive and not required all this corporate welfare, this
That's not what did them in.
welfare for the rich. What?
That's not what did them in. Trade policies did them in. It's not a matter of quality in American products.
No, no.
No,
How come Japan kicks our ass?
that's what they say.
And now South Korea.
How long does a Nissan last?
Today's Nissan?
Any Nissan.
Or a Honda? Oh, it'll blow away an American product. Oh, a long time.
I don't think so.
Eons. Are you
Take a
kidding
look.
me? A
Take
Honda?
a look
Especially
at
a
the-
Honda?
Any one of them.
Come on.
And not only that, how many of them are classics? Zero.
Listen, you take
Zero.
You take a new Ford Taurus, because I know you're a little bit partial to Ford.
Has nothing to do with
And
partiality.
you put it up against a Honda Accord or a Nissan Maxima or an Altima, and we'll see which one lasts longer.
How long does the Nissan warranty its car?
I don't know.
3 years, just like everybody else.
I just know how long Hondas last.
What about a Volvo? What's wrong with a Volvo?
Very, very powerfully, very well-built vehicle. Swedish car?
Well, then the point is, why Japanese? Trade policies. Okay? How many cars, American cars, are sold in China? How many in South Korea?
A Volkswagen Passat is an outstanding car, too.
It's German.
I mean, the track record.
It's
It
German.
won many Car of the Year awards.
I see no classics. I see none of them as classics. Except maybe the Mercedes.
Yeah, but the classic Classic meaning longevity?
Classic meaning longevity and styling and whatever else. Go to the car shows.
Yeah, but
see the 1955 Chevrolets.
listen to this guy. They're gas guzzlers.
1950. Well, that's when gas was 21 cents a gallon. What the hell? Times have changed.
Well,
Times have changed,
listen,
but the point is...
I will salute one and only one American car. That new 100% electric Chevy Volt.
Forget about the Volt.
I don't know if the Volt, I don't know what the Consumer Report, you know, what Consumer Reports say about the Volt, if it's problematic. I don't know. But at least it's 100% electric, right?
No.
You said forget, it's not?
No.
It's a hybrid?
It's a hybrid.
The Volt is a hybrid?
As far as I know, it's a hybrid. They got commercial on right now. I fill up my Volt maybe like every 2 months.
So there's still whores to the oil companies, the auto industry, the U.S. auto industry.
Yeah.
There's still whores.
There's other ones that have a wider range. You go more miles on a charge, etc. The Tesla, etc.
Well,
so
I know.
The Volt is, you know, it's just like anything
I
else.
think Japan imports 100% electric vehicles to the United States. I think, you know, some of the Japanese companies make them. But it's always the United States
but it's
to
through
be the
trade
last.
policy.
Huh?
It's through trade policies, unfair trade policies. We subsidize the world
In other words,
with our stupid trade policies.
in other words, these other countries won't allow American companies to import, to export into their countries,
Exactly.
And the United States lets everybody export into our country.
Correct. An Amish bishop accused
They have bishops?
of orchestrating hair-cutting attacks in Ohio coerced women at his settlement into having sex with him so he could turn them into better wives.
Oh.
One of the women testified
An Amish bishop?
on Thursday.
An Amish bishop is the one to teach them how to have sex? He's an expert?
Correct.
Now, when you say hair
And
cutting,
he can tickle them with his beard at the same time.
are you the beard with no mustache, right?
No mustache.
At that beard, that I wonder why they do that. I wonder why they grow. So when you say hair cutting, does he cut their pubic hairs? Does he buzz them down below?
No, it's not them that got their hair cut. The hair cutting was several men got their hair cut as a punishment
Yeah.
by the leaders of the Amish community, or whatever, or by sneaks, whatever.
So their face, maybe. Okay.
The woman said what started out as hugs turned into kisses and then sex.
That's what my grandfather used to say. Hugs, 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 turn to kiss, 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 turn to fuck, fuck, fuck. That's what my grandfather used to say.
She said she resisted at first. He would say things like, "I can't understand why you won't obey me. Spread your legs, woman."
You gave him the old shillelagh?
The other ladies can. I always gave up. I was afraid not to.
So did the Amish women ever see a dick before? A penis? In their life? Or except for barnyard animals? I mean, were they...
Prosecutors say the alleged sexual counseling of married women shows the control Samuel Mullet Sr. had over followers of the Amish settlement he founded 2 decades ago.
So Mullet gave the girls his mallet.
The 16 people accused of carrying out the haircutting attacks last fall,
oh man,
all lived on Mullet Settlement in eastern Ohio, near the West Virginia Panhandle.
what does he have, a sign that says "Come see Mullet's mallet"? Hey honey, hey girls, come and see Mullet's mallet.
The government contends that the haircutting was motivated by a religious dispute between Mullet and the other Amish bishops who had sought to limit his authority.
So maybe he thought he was like blessing them by...
Those accused of planning and taking part targeted the hair and beards of the Amish because of its spiritual significance in the faith, the prosecutor said.
Oh, I wonder why no mustache though.
Mullet has denied any involvement. U.S. District Judge Dan Aaron Polster told jurors after the woman took the stand that Mullet was not charged with any sex crimes and that they could only consider the testimony as it relates to charges in the indictment. The woman said her husband had a mental breakdown in the summer of 2008 and was in the hospital when Mullet suggested that her husband's trouble stemmed from dissatisfaction with his marriage.
He didn't get no satisfaction. Him and
Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger, right?
Mullet told her he wanted to help the couple with marriage counseling, and she agreed to his request to move in with him.
They have Amish marriage counselors?
Well, this guy did. At first he wanted hugs from her. And next we had to kiss him. Or maybe he had to sit on his lap. I'm not sure what was first.
In other words, during Christmas, what did he say? Hey honey, come sit on Santa's lap.
We'll talk about the first thing that pops up.
No, come sit on Santa's lap. I have a nice candy cane waiting for you. Candy cane?
Even asking for a hug was a startling request, she said, in a community that values modesty and is deeply religious.
I bet the Amish pantalones are very loose.
No mas pantalones.
Huh?
No mas pantalones.
What do they wear?
No habla español?
Yeah, but what is their traditional black outfit? What does it consist of? Is it just a coat with nothing underneath?
It's just, as far as I know,
like
it's
a kilt?
supposed to be plain, that's all.
Everything is plain.
Plain.
But they don't believe in undergarments.
I don't know about that, and they don't believe in being, showing off, per se.
Well, some of the... I've been to Lancaster County.
These are all beliefs. There's nothing in the Bible that says... Do they consider themselves Christians?
I was just going to say, I've been to Lancaster County, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I've seen the Amish go by in buggies, and they're all in black. The girls have some...
Men in black.
The girls have some white. The buggies are black, and this was...
And bonnets. They have little bonnets.
Yeah, but this was in the summer, and it's very...
hot.
Naturally, but I'm just saying that Amish country is mostly farmland. There's no forests. It's open. It's rolling hills.
Flatland.
It's flat.
Oh, rolling. That's right.
No, they're rolling, but they're not forested. There's no shade except for a couple trees here and there. But it's hot as hell, and they're in black, which is the hottest material to wear in the summer.
How did Johnny Appleseed miss that?
And some of the Amish girls are very cute, actually, despite their outfit, huh?
How did Johnny Appleseed miss that area?
I don't know.
He should have planted some seeds there, man, and get some trees.
I wonder if Amish girls are difficult to seduce.
Well, obviously, unless you are a part of the group, it's pretty darn easy.
I guess.
As we see right here.
Maybe
an authority figure.
Right. Remember that? Remember not too long ago that I don't know. She says she was from New York, but I didn't believe her because on Facebook it said that she was from a certain town in Utah, and she was probably most likely a Mormon. But who the hell knows? But she went to Brigham Young University.
She was a Mormon.
And it says she's from this particular Utah town in Utah. So how could she be originally from New York? I don't know. People on the internet are very strange, but she was very, very prudish and very pissed off at the fact that my friend who runs this agency for fitness models was posting scantily clad, very, very physically fit young ladies on Facebook. And she was, I think, the one involved in getting her shut down over and over. And she was very, very anti-sex, anti-sensuality, like a Christine O'Donnell was. And I think they're full of shit, actually. I think the people that bark the loudest are probably the biggest sluts around. They're the opposite of what comes out of their mouth. You know, so maybe these holy roller prudish girls have a lot of horniness pent up in them. Frustration, or what's the word? From all the suppressed feelings.
She went along with Mullet's wishes because she thought it would help her husband.
Right.
One evening, after moving into Mullet's home, another woman came to her and said that he wanted to see her in his bedroom.
Well, Bishop Mullet was just trying to make them better wives, right?
She said she refused.
To train them.
But Mullet insisted.
So
the woman said she moved out of the house after 2 months when her husband returned to the settlement, but she continued to see Mullet at his home.
Oh my gosh.
I was afraid not to go.
I think I know what Mullet's up to.
The woman said she finally told Mullet a month later that it had to stop. He called her a whore.
Oh, but he's not a male whore.
That's correct.
She's a whore.
He's a religious bishop.
I think Bishop Mullet was abusing his authority in the Amish community. I think he was using.
Oh, really?
I think he was using his rank, his title, in a way to extort or blackmail the girls into sleeping with him, forcing them to have sex with him so he can have his cornucopia, his abundance of sex partners.
The woman and her husband soon left the Amish settlement where they had raised their children and moved to Pennsylvania. We just took our children, a few suitcases with our clothes, she said.
Well, they're not known for too many material possessions. The Amish, they just have their basics, like it's supposed to be, like it says in the Bible. You know, the
Bible says, "Be content with contentment."
Be content.
It doesn't say you have to be a pauper.
No, be content with contentment, which means have the basics. You can have abundance in the basics, but not be ostentatious like rich capitalists.
Or greedy
rich capitalists. Conservatives are in the United States that like to flaunt their wealth, and they must have more than one private jet, and they must have more than one a beach house, or yachts, and and expensive cars, and their mansion has to be bigger than other people's mansions.
Those who wed themselves focus on money can never be satisfied.
Well, it's a form of idolatry, like you've told me.
It is idolatry. Whatever you focus on with all of your, power and ability and etc. is your God.
Yeah. So, and idolatry is part of the Ten Commandments, which is in the Old Testament. But if you speak to a right-wing fundamentalist holy roller, they would tell you, oh,
nailed to the cross.
The law's dead. It's nailed to the cross.
Yeah. We don't have anything to obey. Jesus paid that price for us. We're free. Free!
So you have, today, in this week's show, you have single-handedly proved that Paul himself says that the law is very important.
It's not just me. This is proof anybody who reads the Bible knows.
I know. But these people who look up to Paul so much seem to have missed those things that Paul said about the law.
Well, they're very convenient. What they do is they dismiss a lot of the Old Testament unless they can use it in some way. Like, they'll dismiss all the stuff from the Old Testament as Jewish stuff. But hey, they like the little laws against homosexuals and things of that nature.
They pick and choose.
Leviticus, they like God hates fags. God hates fags.
Yeah, they pick and choose the laws from the Old Testament
right.
that benefit.
But they want you to obey them.
That benefit their agenda.
Yeah.
And their agenda is usually a very selfish agenda.
Yeah.
So you see how they are manipulative spin doctors. The right wing is hypocrites too.
But unfortunately, they have convinced, or been convinced, or whatever, the 99% of Christian denominations, they are correct. The Bible is not correct.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible is quaint, out of date. Or as some people say, without understanding, of course,
right.
There are hundreds of Bibles. There aren't hundreds of Bibles. There are hundreds of translations. And some of them are not too good.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
I was today when I rolled out of bed, I was extremely scruffy. I had a thick beard, and I shaved with my Persona
non grata
double-edge disposable razors that I get at the Dollar Tree. I think, what do you get, 10? 10.
I don't know.
Yeah, 10 for $1. Nothing. And I'm not getting paid by Persona. Nothing in my whole life compares to a Persona disposable double-edged blade.
Okay.
As long as you cover it with that little plastic covering to keep the blade from corroding, you get, it's already been like 2 weeks on one razor of shaving so far.
And then you have another side yet.
No, it's got only one side, but it's double.
Only one side?
No,
I thought you were using the thing with the two sides.
No,
with the brush. With the stone.
I use the brush. No, I'm not using that because I don't get many shaves out of the Wilkinson sword. I think it might have something to do with the fact that it's not covered. It's uncovered, and the Persona you cover with the cap.
I have no idea.
Yeah, they go dull after like 2 shaves. They're completely dull. So I get 4 shaves out of one entire double-sided Wilkinson sword because it's not covered up. I think that's the reason. And something happened, and I just couldn't sharpen it. I don't know. I have to look into it, but anyway.
There is good reason Democrats have little enthusiasm for the honor given Governor Christie as at the Republican National Convention's keynote speaker as the Christie is the most divisive, petty, narrow-minded politician I can recall.
Oh, he's horrible.
His lack of compassion and inclusiveness for people different from himself is most upsetting.
He is the poster boy for conservatives, for right-wingers.
I did not watch his speech, unfortunately. I get enough of him as it is. I can only hope that more New Jersey voters come to their senses, vote him out, and let him have the national stage that he craves.
Well, I'm sure teachers won't be voting for him. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that minorities won't be voting for Chris Christie, or lower income people.
Demagoguery. Governor Christie's keynote address was nothing more than scripted fluff for his face.
Like his fat body and his face, yeah.
The words truth and now were repeated almost as much as the ubiquitous pronoun I.
Everything he's done, yeah, bragging. Yeah.
He referenced the term absentee leadership so many times, one might forget just how many times he has been absent from a state that suffers from 9.8% unemployment.
He's always traveling to campaign for other Republicans throughout the country. Chris Christie is.
His message was one of simple fear, with insidious undertones of the seemingly rampant Republican trend of dismissing women as actual citizens.
He did make a statement like that. He says we cater too much to women. Meanwhile, women make up 51% of the vote.
I think it's 54.
54% of the U.S. vote. Yeah, he did say that. We cater too much to women. They cater too much to his meal plan, his food supply.
They cater. The Republicans cater too much to big corporations and the wealthy.
Yeah, but if you told Christie that, he would probably start hollering and insulting you. You know, if you would be a heckler, and he would threaten you.
Oh, I would be a terrorist.
He would threaten you. Yeah, but it's true.
I could go to jail.
He feels we're catering too much to women or the poor. But what about them catering to the rich and to corporations?
Well, that's an example of seeing the sliver in other people's eyes and not noticing the beam in one's own. Christie may be anti-President Obama, which is his right. But if he were honest in his disdain, he should have offered just one simple detail of how the newly branded Republican Party will save America from the fiscal cliff. His criticism of the president's rhetoric rings hollow through the halls of emptiness that is the real Republican's dream. I would love to hear just one solid, constructive solution to our economic military woes, which the Republicans have daintily dismissed.
Solution is quite simple. There is probably an astronomical amount of waste in the defense budget. Plain and simple. That could easily solve many woes in the United States.
Woe is me.
Woe is me, the tree of woe.
How do you give back the Republican Party its soul when, number one, its platform opposes abortion under any circumstances, including the mother's health? Number two, its vice presidential candidate has proposals that the Catholic bishops, not exactly a liberal group, condemn. Number three, the party wants to eliminate Obamacare with no alternative in a country that has 46 million uninsured and millions more with pitiful insurance.
Pitiful, to say the least. Or none.
Number four,
Charity care, you know.
it wants to lower taxes on the top 1% yet again and pay for them by eating away further at what little is left of the safety net.
Oh boy, the rich are not rich enough again.
I told you.
At the
There's
expense
never
of
enough.
at the expense of the American people.
It's a disease. Greed is a disease.
And look how many middle class.
It's not good, like Michael Douglas said in Wall Street. Greed is good.
What do you mean? Well, they must have loved.
Gecko.
They must
Gordon Gecko.
They must have loved. They must have loved Ayn Rand. The people of Wall Street.
The Republicans love Ayn Rand. I said in Selfishness as a Virtue, except when she gets on the atheist theme.
Well, what about?
Otherwise, they love her.
Now, don't they realize that more and more mainstream middle-class Americans are entering the poor ranks?
Yeah, they do.
So where are all the
And
taxes?
this is good for corporations,
But
is
who,
it not?
but who are they going to tax if less people, since the middle class have the tax burden, and more middle class people are losing their jobs and getting their homes foreclosed, then that means who would be left to pay the taxes, and who will be left to buy their products?
That is not. That's long-term thinking.
The corporations' products. Yeah.
They think in short terms, quarters.
In other
Corporations
words,
think in quarters.
In other words, they're idiots.
Every 3 months.
They're idiots.
Yes, they are idiots.
Blithering idiots.
But there's method to their madness.
There is.
Yes. They want to make the middle class lower classes.
Yeah.
The poor poorer.
And then,
So that they
God.
will work for practically nothing
okay, so
to survive.
then there will still eventually not be enough people to buy their products.
They're not thinking that because they believe in their free market theory, globalization,
They want slavery.
that
of
they
course.
will extend and enhance their markets around the world.
And use the American workforce, mainstream America, as their slaves.
Yes. That's the big ticket
So
item.
it's the ultimate in selfishness.
Of course.
Because Republicans have as much compassion as a pack of hyenas have toward an aging wildebeest.
Many years ago, Rush Limbaugh did a tirade on compassion. He's not compassionate, and neither are they.
And
Compassion is a weakness.
he's kind of built like Chris Christie, more or less.
Ayn Rand, altruism is a weakness.
So as far as the poor goes, they can.
You must care only about yourself,
They can perish.
not about your fellow man. That's their, philosophy.
So the ultimate hypocrisy is when they claim to be real Christian.
There it is.
That's the ultimate hypocrisy.
That's where it collides. And that is the theme of the new newsletter article called Angels of Light.
Ah, the upcoming new issue of Newsletters Censored. This is the reading of Censored or the God Project?
The censored.
The censored reading.
The main article.
The main article, the first article that appears on the front page for the next issue will be Angels of Light. How appropriate in the end times.
Isn't that funny? Governor Christie's
Perfect title.
biggest applause came when he attacked teachers and unions. This is a party that hates, as it showed during the primaries when audience applauded executions in Texas and booed gay soldiers. It is a party that vowed to fight President Obama every step of the way, even before his inauguration. It is a party with no soul. I have a news flash for Governor Christie. Before retiring, I was a teacher for 37 years. Before retiring, I was a member of the teachers union for 37 years. During those years, I served in official capacities for many years. The teachers unions are the teachers. We are the members. We make the rules of our union. We decide who leads us and how. You cannot separate teachers' unions from teachers, as Governor Christie tried to do in his keynote address at the Republican National Convention. They are one and the same.
Well, when Chris Christie became, when he passed the bar exam and became a lawyer and then a, what is it, the district attorney? What's that title he had? Before he became...
he was a district attorney.
District attorney or some, when Chris Christie, what do you want me to do with that?
I don't know. The Republicans use it all the time.
Yeah, but that's not accurate, that statement.
Well, I know, but they use it all the time.
I don't care. Let them use it. Give me that thing. What was I saying? Oh yeah, when Christie became a lawyer and a district attorney, and also when he broke into politics, I'm sure Chris Christie wanted a very hefty salary to match his appetite. I'm sure he wanted to make a lot of money.
Well, you see,
but it's not a teacher.
In that case,
a teacher can't make a lot of money.
In that case, they think of themselves as worth it
because they think they're better than everybody else.
Teachers are being paid by the government. They are. What the hell? It'll come to me. They work for the government, so therefore, to cut government, you have to cut those people out. Stop paying them. That's what it's all about with the safety net, with welfare and everything. And of course, they believe that Social Security is welfare too, and stuff like that. So you cut those things out, and you shrink the government, and pretty soon it'll be so small you can drown it in a bathtub.
What Dr. Bill was showing me was this. Republicans use this all the time. I got news for you people. If you read your Bible, and if the person conducting your Bible study was a worthy pastor that also knew the scripture for real, okay, you would know that God, okay, he's not political at all, but he's definitely not, I repeat, he's definitely not a conservative, and he is definitely not a capitalist. God is no capitalist, believe me, and he's no conservative, number one. Number two, the United States and Great Britain, as was taught to me by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, are two modern-day descendants of the cursed lost tribes of ancient Israel.
Well, they weren't cursed back then.
Not back then, but now they're under curse, right?
The blessings have been taken away.
The blessings have been taken away. Ephraim and Manasseh Ephraim and Manasseh are the modern-day descendants, which is the United States and Great Britain. Of course, Great Britain lost its empire, and there are others that are modern-day descendants from these lost tribes that are now cursed. And the Jews that are in Israel today are not the ancient Israelites, and they are not the chosen people that they think they are.
They are only two tribes, Judah and Benjamin, are known as the Jews.
Right.
The other 10 tribes were lost to history. They migrated north and west from Assyria and ended up in the Isles, the UK, and fanned out from there.
And then the children of that, they was the British colonies throughout the world, right?
That's correct.
The British colonies. You know, Hong Kong, Australia, India.
Well, those are not they are not part of the modern day descendants of ancient Israel.
No, but the United States is.
Yes, it is, but you don't want to name them all, but you're talking about places like Australia, New Zealand, Luxembourg, and Ireland, Scotland, places like that.
Oh, okay.
They are part of the 10 tribes.
Right. Okay. All right.
Modern day descendants, but England's empire, you know, That's
which they lost.
they just flung people around the world.
And Germany are the Assyrians, the modern-day descendants of Assyria,
yeah,
who were a very brutal
warmen.
warmen.
The warmen. The Assyrians.
Germany would be the modern-day descendants. Thus, their participation in World War I and II, Germany, and they're very similar to the Assyrians. But that is that's in one of the God projects that you did, right? This information about.
Well, this information is in through a lot of stuff, but
Yeah, but just go on Google and type in God Project, the God Project Archive Classics, you know, and Mega Life 21, and type in censored on demand Archive Classics, or the God Project on demand Archive Classics. You never miss a show with this organization. So anyway, we have a nice juicy.
The extent of Arctic sea ice reached a record low on Monday, according to the University of Colorado National Snow and Ice Data Center, and is on track to decline further in the next 2 weeks. News that the Arctic sea ice cover had shrunk to 1.58 million square miles came to 2 days after Royal Dutch Shell's drill ship, the Noble Discoverer, took advantage of reduced sea ice and started sailing from Alaska's Dutch harbor to the Chukchi Sea.
Chuck E. Cheese Sea?
In anticipation
What
of
was the name of
final-
that sea?
Chukchi.
Oh,
Chukchi.
Chukchi. I thought you said Chuck E. Cheese.
In anticipation of final federal approval for oil exploration activities there.
Oh, sure. They can never stop exploring for oil.
The area covered by Arctic summer ice, sea ice, usually reaches its low point around September the 13th, when the region begins to cool.
Yeah.
But it has been melting at an unprecedented 38,600 square miles per day. And it is likely to decline even further before the ice begins to reform. The last minimum sea ice record of 1.61 million square miles was set in September 2007. Walt Meyer, a research scientist at the Colorado Data Center, said, long-term warming coupled with recent weather conditions accounts for the new low. Further reduction in the extent of summer sea ice, which has declined 40% over the past 3 decades, would have implications far beyond the Arctic. The difference in temperature between the region and temperate zones is what propels the west to east speed of the jet stream, which could shift storm tracks as well as lead to more extreme weather.
So global warming is a myth, Republicans? Interesting. So you still think it's a myth?
Yeah, they do.
Despite what satellite images show you?
The Republican mind is not amenable in politics or in religion or in science amenable to facts. It's just not there.
So
I just told you, a study showed that the conservatives have less gray matter in their brains.
It definitely seems like that. There's no logic there. As Mr. Spark would say, extremely illogical political party.
Most illogical, Kirk. I mean, Captain.
Yeah,
most illogical.
Most illogical, indeed. Do you have
fascinating.
You have one more small but fascinating article?
Fascinating.
Small.
Fascinating.
But fascinating.
What the hell would be fascinating?
But small, because we're at the end of our show.
Small? What the hell is small?
What is small?
I gotta pull one out here, okay? I'm pulling one out. Let's see what this says. Okay. Let's see if this is small enough and worthy enough.
Worthy enough.
Within the furor over the definition of rape, an important fact has received little or no attention.
Hey, this is in the news. This is very applicable to today.
If fertilization results from a rape, the potential new child will have half of his chromosomes and their thousands and thousands of genes from the father and half from the mother. This is basic reproductive biology. And whether you are Republican or Democrat, it is accepted fact.
It's medical fact.
In other words, half of the resulting newborn would have genes from a deranged mind, a criminal mind, if you will. What woman wants to carry a fertilized egg to full term knowing that half the makeup of the child is from a brute?
True.
All through history, women have chosen their mates based on attributes that help ensure a strong, healthy child. Yet today, we have politicians in Washington who think they know better and continually strive to protect an unborn cluster of cells.
Yeah. That's providing the women want children. Some people don't wish to become parents, and that's perfectly fine.
Whether it is the result of a loving union or a criminal one. Maybe it's time for some real sex education courses for our representatives.
You mean our conservative representatives?
Did you notice that they were showing down at the Republican National Convention the prostitutes, the big corporations, and all of their people, you know, hiring the restaurants and everything to give the nice meals and prostitutes and gifts and everything to all the representatives that are going to be.
You know why? Because there's more money in go-go bars and on in escort services than do the Democrats. There are more go-go bars. Or what they call now gentlemen's clubs, which is a joke, in Tampa, Florida, than anywhere else in the United States.
That's why they went there.
No. I mean, naturally, there's a lot of go-go bars in Tampa.
Yeah, I know, but that's why the Republicans chose that venue.
I thought they're supposed to be closer to God than everybody else.
Hell no, man. When a Republican gets away from his wife, buddy, look out.
Now you see how hypocritical these people are.
Damn.
Oh man, they're like you get these. They're so prudish when they're campaigning. You know, the women and the men. They're like, oh, family values. Family values. Oh, porno. We have to outlaw pornography. Oh, prostitution must be illegal. Marijuana, drugs, illegal.
It's all hypocrisy.
We need prayer in school. We need to go after gay people, and I mean all this shit, all this morality and family values while they're campaigning. They're holier than thou until they punch the clock and they're on their own time, and they're out gallivanting and having fun. Then the morality and the family values goes out the window. And the American people that vote for them just don't see it.
They see it. But, as I keep saying, they are trained to never give their vote to a Democrat.
We're Democrats?
Correct.
But what about what they're doing, the Republicans?
They don't see the beam in their own eye, only the sliver in yours.
Now do you know why the world looks at Americans as being a bunch of wackos?
And hypocrites. Correct.
What a laughingstock to the world America must be. And I agree with them. The world that's criticizing America.
We should get one thing straight, however.
Yeah.
When we speak about our government, it's not our government.
Yeah.
Okay? It's the people in it, government at that time. like
Right.
a G.W. Bush or something. It's not ours. It's not ours. So do not hate our government. If you want to hate those people that are in charge.
In other words, don't hate the system. Don't
Right.
hate the U.S. Constitution,
Right.
our founding fathers, the flag. Hate the corrupt, evil bastards that are in there now. Very good.
Last one here.
Okay.
With
Finish.
all the political views expressed in support of the anti-abortion stance, nothing is mentioned about the downside
Uh-huh.
of that position. Prior to Roe versus Wade, about 15,000 women died each year from botched, illegal, and self-induced coat hanger abortions. I remember this well. This was in the 60s, before Roe versus Wade. If you needed a abortion, it had to be back alley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Therefore, in the 35 years since that ruling, more than 500,000 women's lives have been saved.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the anti-abortionists claim that the human embryo in its earliest stage is a full human being.
Mm-hmm.
Approximately 20% of normal pregnancies end in miscarriage. In effect, a spontaneous abortion. Why then aren't all such embryos baptized, given Christian funerals and burials, rather than thrown out with other medical waste?
You're right. That's true. That is very true.
True, Truman.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
the point is, we will not resolve the abortion issue,
mm-hmm.
keeping it in a religious venue.
Yeah. That's true.
And, of course, when we look at the fact that humans are cut off from God
Uh-huh.
and have been allowed for 6,000 years to create our own governments and our own ways of life with Him or contrary to Him,
Yeah.
it seems that Roe versus Wade is fine because it's our law. We created the law to deal with a problem that we think we can deal with.
Yeah.
Now, how many, if the fact of the matter is that God counts every embryo as a potential God being, well, look at all of them that have died, been partially grown over all the time. And remember, go back to the Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden, God creates this human being from the dust of the ground, and the human being is complete physically. He's lying there on the ground, inanimate, because he lacks life. Now, he's a full-grown human being, and he lacks life until the God breathes into him the breath of life. Well, an embryo is breathing like a fish.
You were telling me, even though an embryo looks like a teeny tiny baby,
Not an embryo, a fetus.
a fetus looks like a
An
tiny.
embryo is just a conglomeration of cells that are differentiating.
Okay. The fetus, even though the fetus looks like a very tiny version of a baby, you said there's no mental activity in the
The
fetus.
brain is still growing in the last few months of gestation.
So in the beginnings, even though it might have the appearance of a baby, the fetus, it is not a human being.
Well, you see, that's not the real problem. The problem is these religious nuts say that life begins at conception. When the spermatozoon penetrates the ovum, life begins.
So if you terminate conception, or
you are killing. Thou shalt not kill.
So what are they going to do? They're going to say that the contraception is not good either. These idiots.
No, contraception is not killing a life.
No, but stopping,
it's preventing one from,
but terminating a conception is, according to them.
According to them, yes.
But they don't. But when the baby is born, if it is not
and takes its first breath,
if it's not an elitist baby, if it's a poor child, then it's worthless to a conservative Republican.
Well, yeah, because its propaganda period has gone by.
So you're only valuable if you're in the womb.
Yeah, as a propaganda tool. Yes.
As a propaganda tool. Once you're born, unless you're a hoity-toity rich kid with a silver spoon in your mouth,
yeah,
you're worthless as a living, breathing child that's already born.
Or a pain in the ass, because then you become a burden, a financial burden.
So it all goes back to moolah when it comes to Republicans. It's all about money. Profit over people, profit over the planet. Vote independent, please. Oh, I forgot to mention the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is running for president for the 3rd time as a progressive independent. Go to newslettercensor.com and read Dr. Bill for President, and he will teach you how to write in a candidate, and he will also teach you, well, simply the way to get corruption out of politics is to get the money out of politics. Everybody knows that by now. And
they know it, but they don't do anything about it.
I mean, people that are qualified should have a chance to be on the ballot, that are really truly qualified. It shouldn't have to be how rich you are to run for president.
The two parties have it sewed up.
Yeah, the two-party system, which is very corrupt. So anyway, I want to celebrate officially the rapid growth and of course the birth of my new exciting Facebook group, the Truth Whisperers. It simply is a New Year's Eve party favor, a noisemaker for celebrating, and it's obnoxious, and I like to use it when I want to celebrate something positive. All right. I got a prop for just about everything. Speaking of prop, you ever see that anti-rape device from Africa? It looks like it's condom shape, but it's actually like a diaphragm. It goes in a woman's vagina, and it has blades. It has razor sharp blades going in the opposite direction, like the teeth of a python. So if a man forces his way into the woman, his penis gets caught when he tries to withdraw it, and it gets torn to shreds. It's an actual device from Africa.
Go look up a cat's penis.
A cat?
Cat penis, yeah.
Does it have hooks?
Not hooks per se, but
In other words, once he's in there...
No wonder she's screaming and yelling when he's got her by the neck and penetrating her.
I wonder why a kitty's tongue is like sandpaper. A cat's tongue.
Because they have to bathe themselves. But in so doing, since they cannot spit it out, they swallow air.
Yeah, they don't.
And they get hard hairballs.
Kitties don't like to bathe. They don't like water.
No.
Unless you're a tiger. Tigers are the only cats that enjoy swimming.
A hot tub. They enjoy a hot tub.
They'll dive. Did you see the photo? Somebody threw a slab of beef into the pool, and the tiger was underwater.
Yeah. That's right.
With a mean look on his face, trying to fetch the beef, the steak. Anyway, thank you for joining us for this week's progressive discussion. It was another very hard-hitting progressive discussion. And Bill, Reverend Bill, Dr. Bill. Now, what is your opinion of this new format we have of
I don't like it.
breaking down the shows
Don't like it.
into part one of 5? In other words, put it together again. Put it back into one show. Because somebody said to me, gee, your show cut off after 30 minutes. And I told them, because this is 1 of 5. You got to go to 2 of 5, then to 3 of 5, then to 4 of 5, then to 5 of 5. It's not working out. So what's happening is, no matter what we do, there's always somebody that is going to complain.
Exactly.
Your show is too long. It's an hour and 45 minutes. It's 2 hours.
Them. Let the people make their own decisions. If they want to go away from a thing, they put it on pause.
Put it on pause and come back to it. Why do you think the worst job I ever had in my life was dealing with the general public? Because the general public is so damn annoying.
Stupid.
El stupido. Annoying. They always find something to complain about. They're always bitching and moaning. The show's too long, bitching and moaning. Human beings have a short attention span. They're not going to watch an hour and 45-minute show. Then I break it down into 30-minute or 20-minute clips. Oh, they watch the first video, and the rest, the first video gets, after a few days, like last week's show, 70 views, over 70 views after a few days, and the others have much, much less. Because people are not reading the end that says 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5. They're not reading that part. Or if they read it, maybe they don't know what it means. It's like, duh, 1 of 5. That means it's the first video of 5 videos.
If you want to cut them, you should only cut them twice. Part 1 and part 2, that's it. Otherwise, leave it alone and let them make their decisions. They can cut it off after an hour and a half, whatever they want.
In other words, the format that I originally had, where I put the whole show together in one mega show.
Leave it.
Leave it. Let it be.
Let them,
let them decide.
Deal with it.
If they want to leave comments about, they want to be nitpicky and bellyache, let them. All right. Say so long to these people.
So long, people.
Happy
Happy summer going.
Happy unofficial end of summer and the closing of the beaches and the rip-off boardwalk. It is the unofficial ending of summer, Labor Day weekend, 2012. And before you know it, it's going to be, when the weather's hot and sticky, that's no time for Dunkin' Dickie.
Why, that's the time for Dunkin' Dickie.
But when the frost is on the pumpkin...
That's it. Yeah. Now it's time for Dickie.
Now, when the frost is on the pumpkin, now it's time for Dickie Dunkin'.
There you go.
I learned that little, what would be a limerick? What would you call that? I learned that in high school from somebody my mother was dating. All right, so long. Have a safe, most of all. Have a safe Labor Day 2012.
Yeah.
Please be safe.